In this assignment, you're going to be graphing some equations using slope y-intercept. You're going to have to rewrite the equation so that it's in slope-intercept form. So, graph the equation. So example 1, you get to graph the equation 4x minus 5y equals 10. Now you need to make a kind of graph over here, just like in the previous ones, but you have a big problem. You need to get the slope, you need to get the y by itself, okay? This y letter, first off, make like a wall on the side of the equals where the y is at, okay? You need to get this y by itself. Now the y has a multiplying number of -5. So remember that. Okay, now you have to add or subtract this 4x. Well, it's a positive. If it's a positive, you're going to subtract it, and then that side's 0. Now you need to make an x over here. What you're going to do is put plus 0x, and then you're going to minus 4x from the 0x. Then you have -5y, and then you need to take 0 minus 4 first before you worry about the 10. 0 minus 4 is -4x, and then we have plus 10. Okay, now what we're going to do is divide everything by this -5. So if I divide by -5 here, now the y is by itself, but then I have to divide each of these separately by -5. Now I got y by itself, and now I divide. First I take -4 divided by -5. Well, that's a decimal. If it's a decimal, you need to leave it as a fraction. So -4 over -5, put the x there. And then I divide 10 by -5, which is -2. Okay, and now that the y is by itself, we now have our m and our b. Okay, so slope, y-intercept. So the slope's -4 over -5, but what happens with the two negatives is they cancel out and they both become positive, okay? And the y-intercept's -2, -2. Okay, so on the y-axis you go down where -2's at. And then from there I go forward 5, and while I'm doing that I go up 4. So I go up 4, so -1, 0, that's 2, 3, 4, okay? Because again, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then forward about where 5's at, okay? And there's the equation. Okay, next problem. -3x plus 7y equals 14. Okay, so you need to make the wall. First off, circle the y along with the number in front. You have to add or subtract the -3x. Well, if it's negative, you would want, it's like a minus, so you'd want to add 3x. Then put a plus 0x, you're always going to do that, and then add 3x there. So now I have, line up your equals, you have 7y. 0x plus 3x is 3x. You got to do that first, then plus 14. Okay, then you're going to divide all of these by the 7. So 3 divided by 7 is a decimal. So when it's a decimal, don't write the decimal. Just leave it as 3 over 7x. And then 14 divided by 7 is not a decimal, so that's 2. Now I have the y by itself, so I got my m and b right there. So slope, y-intercept. So the slope is 3 over 7. And the y-intercept's positive 2. So I go to positive 2, make a point. And then from there I would go forward 7 and up 3. Okay, so I go up 3 first. So 1, 2, 3, and then I go forward 7. It'd be about way over here. Just graph it, and then there's your graph right there. Okay, next one. This one's kind of a weird one. X minus y equals -6. Okay, make a change here. Now you got to get the y by itself, but a couple things. You want to put 1s in front of the letters. If they don't have numbers in front, those are called coefficients. You need to put 1s there if you don't have them. Now we have this -1y, so we got to get rid of this 1x. So I minus 1x, and I put a plus 0x and minus 1x from there. Because I can't minus it from the -6, because the -6 doesn't have an x with it. Okay? So you got -1y. 0 minus 1 is -1x, and then plus -6. Or -6, either one's fine. And we divide everything by this, -1. -1, -1. Now the y is by itself. So -1 divided by -1 is not a decimal, so I'm going to put, because see, if I divide -1 by -1, that's 1. So that's 1x, and that's plus 6. So now I have my m and my b. So slope, y-int. Okay, your slope is 1. Now you put a 1 under it because you always need a number to go under your slope. And if you don't have it, you put 1. Then plus 6 is the y-intercept. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Make that a little higher. Then I go forward 1, up 1. I usually go up first. So forward 1, over 1's about right there. And there's a graph. Okay, next one, we got 2x minus 3y equals 6. So again, you got to get this equation so that the y is by itself. It's being multiplied by -3, okay? We have to get rid of this 2x. Now it's positive, so the opposite of plus 2x is minus 2x. So I put a 0x over there and I minus 2x there. So line up your equals and you have -3y. And then we have 0 minus 2 is -2x, and then plus 6. And divide everything by the -3. Now the y is by itself, exactly like I want it to be. So -2 divided by -3 is a decimal, so you need to keep that -2 over -3x. And then 6 divided by -3 is -2, so minus 2. So m, b. Okay. So slope, y-int. So the slope is -2 over -3, but you need, when you have negative over negative, make them each positive. You can do that, okay? And then minus 2 is a y-intercept. So that's where -2's at. You go below. Then I go forward 3, but before that I go up 2. So I go up 1, 2, and then forward 3. -1, 0, and then forward 3. Okay, example 5. -5x plus 2y equals 12. Okay, we got to get the y by itself. Okay, so we got positive 2y. So that -5x, we need to plus 5x. And then make your own x with the 0, because you can't add 5x to 12, so you put a 0x and you add 5x there. So So you got 2y. 0 plus 5 is 5. You want to do that first, and then we put plus 12. Then I divide by 2, everything by 2. Okay, so you got y. 5 divided by 2 is a decimal, so we keep that 5 over 2x. 12 divided by 2 is 6. Okay. So, slope, y-intercept. Remember, the slope is the in front of the x, mb. Okay, mx plus b. So m is 5 over 2, and then plus 6 is the y-intercept. Okay, so I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, make a point, and then I go forward 2, up 5. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so up 5, forward 2. That looks crappy, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, so there's your line. Okay, next one, we've got negative 6x plus 2y equals negative 6. So again, we got to get the y by itself to use slope y-intercept. So we got plus 2y. We got to get rid of that negative minus 6x. So I would add 6x. And then I would put a plus 0x, and then I can have a place where I can add 6x. So I have 2y, 0x plus 6x is 6x, and then we have minus 6, or plus negative 6, it doesn't matter. I divide everything by this 2 here so that the y is now by itself. Now we don't keep that as a fraction because 6 divided by 2 is 3. It's not a decimal, 3x. Minus 3. Now you have your m and b. So slope y-int. Okay, so the m is my slope, but I need that to be a fraction, so I put a 1 under it, and then minus 3 is a y-intercept. So I graph my y-intercept first. Minus 1, minus 2, minus 3. I go forward 1, up 3. So 1, 2, 3, forward 1. Last 2. You have 6x minus 5y equals 10. So I'll make my graph. Okay, again, so you got to get rid of your x term. So again, I like to circle my y so I know I don't add or subtract anything there. But out here I do. That's a plus 6x, so I'm minus 6x. Make a 0x and minus 6x from there. So I have negative 5y, 0 minus 6 is negative 6x, and then plus the 10. Then divide everything by what's multiplied by y, which is negative 5. You got to divide everything by it. Okay, so if I divide negative 6 by negative 5, that's a decimal. Do not write decimals. Keep them as fractions. That's my m. Now my b, negative 2. Okay, so you got your slope, y-intercept. Again, you have got to, when you have your two negatives on the slope, you need to make them both positives. So minus 2 is a y-intercept. So minus 1, minus 2. Then I need to go forward 5, up 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, right there. And then just go, no, don't make a point, sorry, we got to go forward 5. Okay, right there. Okay, then the last one. 4x plus 3y equals 6. Okay, so the wall goes up, dot and circle. Okay, 4x, so I need to subtract 4x, so I put a 0x there and minus 4x. So I line up my equals, we got 3 times y. 0 minus 4 is negative 4x, and then plus 6. Now divide everything by your 3. And the y is now by itself, so negative 4 divided by, that's a decimal, so you got to keep it negative 4 over 3x, and there's your slope. 6 divided by 3 is 2, there's your b. So the slope's negative 4 over 3. Now you can't make it plus plus because only the top's negative, okay? Plus 2 is a y-intercept. So you go up 1, 2, make a point. Now you're going to go forward 3, but this time you're going to go down 4 because 4 is negative, okay? So down 1, 2, 3, 4, and then forward 3.